live after the 2025 Lions season.
It's sad. It's a sad Sunday morning. We get to see the Bears in the playoffs advancing. We were going to see the Bears or the Packers advance, which sucks.
Well, how about the Bears and the Packers?
Well, only one of them moves on.
Even my wife was mad this morning. She said, I can't stand the Bears.
I know.
But you know what? If you're in Detroit, to me it doesn't matter who won. It's the Packers and the Bears. You're supposed to hate both of them, except if you're Maz.
Did it play out as perfectly as you could imagine it? Like the Caleb Williams and Jordan Love script played perfectly. The Matt LaFleur choking the second half away played out perfectly. And it was the Bears doing what they did all year long,
right?
Coming back in the second half.
Right.
The fourth quarter, actually. Tom Mazavey's favorite quarter.
They were getting their asses kicked, too.
They were. It was ugly. It was over. Ben Johnson, he's got that team below.
Here's something you may not want to hear. If I had a vote, my vote for Coach of the Year would be for former Lion OC Ben Johnson. And MVP would be former Lion quarterback Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, that's like the worst news you could ever deliver to me this morning. I don't.
If I had a vote,
I don't know if I disagree. I'm putting Vrabel up there ahead of Ben Johnson, but I'm not going to argue if Ben Johnson wins it. What he did to that Bears team, schedule aside, I wasn't a believer. I'm still questioning Caleb Williams, but Ben Johnson has that team playing good football. Not for all four quarters, but they make the adjustments properly, and they're in the playoffs moving on.
But here's the most important quarter, the fourth one.
And they've dominated that all year.
Right. And do you win the game?
Yeah.
I don't care if you look like shit in the first or second quarter. If you win the game, that's it.
Yeah. T. Martinez in the chat, Packers blew it. They did, but also the Bears hung in tough enough to give themselves a chance, and they won it.
There is some pixie dust in Chicago.
I don't like
but
it.
sometimes
like
it's
it.
just your season. Even if you try to mess it up, you can't. You get the breaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about your Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
And I have an exercise for you today.
Talk to me, Terry.
In 3 words, how would you describe the Detroit Lions season?
3 words to describe their season. First, I have sobering.
Okay.
It was a sobering season to me. Second, I've exposed. Part of their formula has been exposed. It's been flawed. And lastly, I think this is the most important one. It's correctable.
Okay.
So I got sobering, exposed, and correctable, Terry.
All right. I'm going to stay in the holiday spirit and say stink, stank, stunk.
Stink, stank, stunk are your 3 words.
Right.
So talk to me through that. That's funny.
All right, stink, stank, stunk. This wasn't what we expected.
No.
At the worst, we thought they'd win 11 games, win the division, be a threat for the Super Bowl. And then, talking to you at the end of the season, well, gee, what if they win their last 3 games? They lose to Pittsburgh.
Stank.
Yeah, stink, stank, stunk.
At Christmas, they stunk.
Right. And then when it doesn't matter, then they beat the Bears.
Right. In fact, it hurt the Lions' future. Some of the things surrounding how they can operate in the future, the schedule. Actually, it didn't affect the schedule, but their draft pick.
Well,
nonetheless, it didn't matter.
No, it didn't. It didn't hurt them because there's some fools out there that think that's carryover to next season. That's going to be carryover to game 1 for the 2026 season, which is only imbeciles believe that.
Brand new season next year.
Correct.
Every single team starts from scratch again.
Right.
There's some stuff that the coaches can evaluate in the final game of the season. You're looking for guys to earn their next contract, to earn trust in the coaching staff next year. But Terry, I don't even know if a lot of the coaching staff.
Let me stop you. Everybody says that. Coaches say that. Players say that. It's bullshit. No, you're not going to look at a guy's last game and say, well, this is if I'm going to give him a contract because of that. I'm proud of what he did before that. You evaluate the whole season. You don't evaluate the last meaningless game.
True. You don't think a guy like Roy Lopez could earn that final breath of confidence to the coaching staff?
No.
Or is it he doesn't have he can only lose out in that final game?
I don't think either applies because A, meaningless game. B, I don't think the Bears cared about winning that game. They were just there. They're going through the motions. And we only look at from a Lions standpoint, though the Lions won. I don't think the Bears cared about that game.
I don't know.
And I was surprised by that, too, because they were embarrassed by the Lions before. You know, Ben Johnson was probably trying to fire him up. This is my old team and blah, blah. I just don't. Those guys just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, dude.
Which kind of surprises me because how they have been playing for Ben Johnson, you think they'd want to win that last game.
Well,
maybe there was some point where they pulled the plug and it's like, all right.
Don't you think winning last night was more important?
Yeah. Oh, by far. Okay. But, even when Ben Johnson was here in Detroit, learning under Dan Campbell, they take care of their guys when they need it. When Jared Goff plays the Rams, when Dan Campbell goes back to Dallas, when Josh Reynolds needs a couple catches for $250K in the last game of the season, they try to make it happen, even in games that don't mean anything.
Different culture, though.
100%. 100%. Do you think the Bears are for real? Do you think they have a chance to go win that Super Bowl?
I keep hearing they're not for real. I keep hearing that this pixie dust is going to wear off, but they keep winning.
They do.
So something must be up over there.
They got 2 all-pro offensive linemen.
You know what? Maybe there's something in the air today because the Indiana Hoosiers, that football power, could win a national championship. In basketball, the basketball power, Nebraska and Vanderbilt are unbeaten. So something must be going on.
Well, the landscape in college/semi-professional sports it's a wild time to be alive, Terry.
So why wouldn't the Bears have a shot?
They definitely have a shot.
Well, when you look at the NFC, Philadelphia Eagles, flawed.
Mm-hmm. Very flawed. The Rams.
The Rams might be the favorite.
Yeah.
Not afraid of them.
No. Seahawks.
Seahawks, man, it's a different animal.
Their
defense is pretty damn good.
They are. But do you trust Sam Darnold like when it matters the most? I'm not there yet.
Well, in today's NFL, yes. Yeah. Normally I would say no, but today everything's just jumbled.
But we've got a body of work of Sam Darnold just absolutely choking away the biggest moments. We've got if people don't want to admit it, there's a body of work of Jordan Love choking away big games too, and we saw it once again.
Well, you had a game where you don't like Caleb Williams or Jordan Love, so somebody had.
And it played out perfect. Caleb Williams played terribly, but he got the win in the fourth quarter. He played well in the fourth quarter. Jordan Love did what he always does. Played really well until it meant the most, and he choked.
Did he
it was
play
perfect.
well in the fourth quarter, or was he just better than his competition? Because he
Both.
was 11 of 20 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think he did what it took to win. In that moment, his ability to make plays out of nothing was part of the reason they were able to make that comeback in the fourth quarter. You needed things to go wrong. It definitely wasn't all Caleb Williams, but he helped propel that. He allowed them to come back in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, for me, I think it's more Matt LaFleur's fault than it is Jordan Love, because as a head coach, you didn't manage that fourth quarter correctly because you could have, or the whole second half really, because those are, precious moments where, you could be draining that clock, and they needed a lot of points in order to come back. And it just made some questionable calls. They couldn't get the run game going. That hurt them. And their defense looked absolutely horrible in that second half.
Matt LaFleur 100% plays a part in it. Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love have been tied to each other for 6 years now. We see the same thing. LaFleur?
He just got an extension, actually.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, if that's the case, as a Lions fan, I'm glad. LaFleur doesn't scare me at all. He's kind of he's never going to have a terrible team. He's good enough where the team will always be hovering around 500, maybe a game or two below. They're always going to compete. The bottom's never going to fall out of them. But when it means the most, Matt LaFleur, he's going to sink.
Okay, let's get back to your Detroit Lions.
The Detroit Lions.
I'm sure you were disappointed.
Yeah. IPE Club in the chat says underwhelming. That's a word to use to describe the season.
Okay, that's one word. I'm looking for 3.
T. Martinez says Vrabel Coach of the Year, but let's see what happens tonight. Our 2025 Lions fooled us all year, Terry. We saw so many different versions of this team.
They only fooled me for half a year.
You saw it before I did.
Yeah.
When did it turn for you? We haven't had a post-mortem, you and I.
No, it turned for me when I saw 2 things. One, teams were gashing the Lions on the ground. And then the Lions' ground game just dried up. And so that was the turning point for me. And here's the deal. I think I said in October when they were in it that they were no longer Super Bowl contenders. Because the thing that I saw there is if you had a decent front, you could shut down the Lions' running game. And they're not going anywhere unless they're getting 5-6 yards per rip. And that didn't happen. But on the other hand, teams were getting 5, 6, 7 yards per rip.
At will.
And so that was the turning point for me. So I thought they were done.
Yeah.
At that point. It wasn't correctable.
Yeah, and it was probably the part of the defense you expected. If all else fails, that defensive front is going to be able to stop the run. They've done it consistently for years. You think Shepard's going to, keep some of the same system or some of the same success that Aaron Glenn had with that defensive line, at least stopping the run. But they didn't. They couldn't.
It didn't happen. You know what Lee McNeil's nickname became?
Casper.
Ghost.
Casper.
Yeah, it was Casper.
Yeah, he's a friendly ghost. He was nowhere to be found after. It was like the first play he returned. I think he had a sack in his first play back. And then it was kind of, where are you?
He was putting up zeros. No tackles, no assists, no sacks, no tackles for loss, nothing.
Lots of donuts on the field and in his belly.
Right. And so people are saying, well, the Lions should at least stop the run because they were completely healthy up front. I disagree with that. They weren't completely healthy. Lee McNeil was playing, but he wasn't healthy. You may as well have just put nobody.
But you had healthy DJ Reader, you had healthy Tyleek Williams, healthy Roy Lopez, healthy Hutch, healthy Mark. Okay, I'll stop there.
But Aleem McNeil was a difference maker.
Yeah.
Aleem McNeil was special.
Yeah.
You take someone special out of that lineup, and he's just a donut or a ghost or a Casper, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. But part of what made him special was his ability to get to the quarterback from the interior, and he was a very good run stopper. They would stop the run at an elite pace with Benito Jones, with Kyle Pecco, with, and he's not Casper, the mean ghost, Isaiah Buggs. Like they had a rotating a group of interior defensive linemen, and they stopped the run at an elite level.
Right.
And that covered a lot of the holes in the Legion of whom over the years that they had to support, that defensive line had to support or pick up the slack where the secondary, so the depleted secondary could do something. They didn't even have that.
No, maybe they should have rotated Lee McNeil's ass out of the lineup.
Yeah, how about not an edge rusher?
Yeah, you know what? It's
desperate.
That's the team scuffling. That's the team that knows it's in trouble. It's got to figure something out. Dan Campbell kept who's a liar, by the way. I told you. Saying, well, we're not that far away. He's just, talking out of his ass.
How about this, though, Terry? And you might be right. Was he lying, though, at the podium after the San Francisco 49ers loss in the NFC Championship game? Because we've had Super Bowl expectations the last 2 seasons, but since that 17-point loss, choke job, The team's regressed. From a results standpoint, they've gone backwards twice. Lost in the first round. Lost in their first playoff game last year. And then not even making the playoffs?
Right. So why is that? I do believe the offense, even though we've been harping on the defense, the offense is more culpable for this than the defense.
Yes.
Because they go 15-2, right? A couple years ago.
Yeah, last year. 2023, 24. Or 24, 25.
People screaming when they were 15-2? Fire defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. So in other words, that defense wasn't that tough then, but that offense was just like clockwork. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery.
A nice percentage split between those two.
Right.
We'll get to that.
And then we were calling David Montgomery a motherfucker because you couldn't stop him. What changed with the Lions this year? I say the offense was bad. And when people say, well, but they were second in this category. They were fifth here. Okay. I still say the offense was bad this year. Now, against the slugs out there, they were averaging like almost 39 points a game, which is very good. In fact, that's excellent. But in their losses and with teams that had any semblance of a defense, the Lions' offense averaged 17.3 points a game.
Yeah. That's not good.
No, that's New Orleans Saints stuff.
Yeah. Of the first 12 games of the season, Saints kind of picked it up a little bit at the end. Nonetheless, I get the analogy.
When it's done.
Yeah. You're right. And it's a perfect example of this stats, and it's going to come back to haunt me when I bring up about Jared Goff's stats in the future, but it's a perfect example of the stat does not tell the whole story. The Lions were at the top of the league in points scored and offensive numbers, but when you really break it down, it was because they had some really big games, some outliers, and even in the other games, their offense was built on explosive plays and explosive plays only. There wasn't that consistent 4 to 5 yard rush on first down.
Okay, you can't use the word average. If I asked you about the Lions' offense this year, was it good or bad?
Just good or bad? Two options?
It's your only option.
I'd say bad.
Can I use a different word? Pathetic.
He says pathetic. He threw in a third word.
Okay, you can use pathetic.
Not tough. It just looked soft. Everything was soft. I mean, you got no run game. There was no holes being opened up for these running backs to even get into open space and be as dangerous as they have been because they couldn't get past the line of scrimmage. They were getting hit in the backfield. I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, they just look soft, and it's the reason why the Lions are not in the playoffs. Because if they do have a steady run game, like in past years, then you take a lot of pressure off of Jared Goff. You take a lot of pressure off that defense. You control the clock, time, possession in the game, and that's what leads to wins.
That's what controlling the ball, time of possession, moving the chains. Everything that people rip Jared Goff on is actually a winning formula.
It is.
They clamor for Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Jordan Love to make the right dink and dunk throws when needed, to dish it off to DeAndre Swift like Caleb Williams did in the fourth quarter. You need to move the chains. The Lions had explosive plays with Gibbs and J-Mo. It didn't mean the offense was great. It meant they put up numbers. But they couldn't stop the other offense. The other offense had the ball for most of the game, so their defense was tired. The tired defense that doesn't get pressure on the quarterback, that has your fourth and fifth string DBs and safeties in, it's not a winning formula. You think the offense was the biggest flaw of this team? Even with the Legion of Whom out there, I'm with you.
Yeah, because they were winning shootouts when they went 15-2.
Mm-hmm.
So that defense wasn't good, but that offense was elite.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the most elite offenses in NFL history.
Yes.
Not close to that now. When the interior of the defensive line, which is the strength of this team, when that fell apart, I was in the ball game.
Yeah, they've been bad on third down and long. They've been bad on fourth down. They've been bad in the red zone. Their red zone defense has been bad. A lot fell apart, and I don't know if and maybe I want to hear your opinion. Do you think we should have seen this coming when Frank Ragnow retired in the offseason, or just when the Lions had to replace their two coordinators?
We should have, but the Lions' offense is still good enough to put up points against bad defenses. And so earlier in the season, you had some subpar defenses where they were putting up points. You're like, okay, maybe they can survive this whole Ragnow thing. But as the season progressed and as they faced better defensive fronts, then it all fell apart. What I saw this year, as soon as Jared Goff got the ball, that line was breaking down. I mean, like within a second.
You saw at some point during the season, Jared Goff stopped stepping into his throw and delivering the football, and it was like he was moving backwards trying to force it to St. Brown 85% of the time.
Give us a lot more dirt balls.
He was scared.
Yeah. He calls them dirt balls. Most of those dirt balls were good decisions. I don't remember a lot of interceptions when the ball hits the dirt. Caleb and Jordan Love could use some dirt balls in their life.
Balls, but I haven't seen any dirt balls go for touchdowns either.
No. They haven't, but those dirt balls give you an extra opportunity the next play instead of forcing it into triple coverage.
What if that next play is fourth down?
Then you got to deliver on fourth down, which they were bad at.
Yeah, but what if it's fourth and long? Because that's where, I mean...
Oh, well, you're not going to throw it into the dirt. Find me a replay of Jared Goff throwing the ball in the dirt on fourth down, and I'll shut the fuck up for the rest of the offseason.
Third down leading into fourth down.
When you're playing for fourth down like this team has been doing for the last 3 years, you throw the ball in the dirt on the third down so you get to fourth down. It's not confusing.
Speaking of fourth down, fellas, I want to criticize Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell never adjusted to the team he had this year. Dan Campbell thought he was coaching the 2024 team. So, therefore, Dan Campbell's going to go for it on fourth down all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he went through a stretch where he only converted fourth down 1 out of 11 times. At some point, you guys say, okay, fellas, this ain't the same group. I got to be a little bit more conservative. I know I want to be aggressive, but the bottom line is you want to win games. But
yeah.
I think he's like, I'm the baddest, meanest motherfucker in the room. I can do whatever I want. Well, he had the team to back that up before.
Yeah.
He did not have that team this year.
They weren't guaranteed that 1 yard. Their offensive line, their offense, they had the tush push without doing the tush push. It was a guaranteed 1 yard, whether it was running with David Montgomery or Gibbs or finding Laporta or St. Brown 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. It was automatic. But it wasn't this year, and he didn't adjust. And they have a weapon in Jack Fox to use. You have a weapon in Jake Bates to use. Dan Campbell didn't adjust.
No.
And Calvin Shepard didn't adjust late in the season. And his other coaches didn't adjust late in the season. It was the coaching staff got out-coached the majority of the games down the stretch, if not throughout the season.
Well, it really got ridiculous when they didn't have Brian Branch or Kirby Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Kirby Joseph takes the ball away. I had this philosophy about the NFL. You really can't stop opposing offenses. So you got to take the ball away. And so Kirby Joseph is a guy. He's a ball hawk. He does a lot of things. But the bottom line is he picks the ball off.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, you got it? That's cute. You can move up and down the field all you want. At some point, I'm taking this damn ball away from you.
Think of how many he might pick off on Aaron Rodgers against the Steelers. Mm-hmm. Those passes to Valdez-Scantling and Gainwell down the field.
He ran Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay. That's how bad he was.
And he would have done it again with some of those throws. But you're right. He wasn't there. They didn't have that ball hawk. Thomas Harper made a couple mistakes, which allowed the 45-yard runs from Jaylen Warren, which I think Kirby Joseph cleans up. Brian Branch definitely cleans up those.
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't get past the line of scrimmage if Branch is out there. You're right. They still had enough talent on that defense to limit the Steelers. Kelvin Shepherd didn't make the proper adjustments, and I wonder if they had a true offensive coordinator, if they still had Ben Johnson there, would Dan Campbell have been more in the entire game, have a better feel for the game, step away from the offense for a little bit, go work with Kelvin Shepherd on what adjustments do we need to make in this second half so Warren doesn't go off for 45.
Yeah, see, I don't believe Ben Johnson would have corrected all this. The bottom line is I look at the Lions offense as this big dam, right? You got a dam. Hoover Dam.
Hoover!
You ever heard of Hoover Dam?
I have.
All right. I've been to Hoover Dam.
I have too.
Right.
We should go together sometime.
Hoover Dam is keeping all this water, millions of gallons of water from flooding. So, but if you put some holes in Hoover Dam, the water's going to come through. And I think the Lions, when they lost the interior of the offensive line, that was their Hoover Dam. It was flawed. It was compromised. It was you couldn't correct that. Now this is Brad Holmes. This is his opportunity to finally fix Hoover Dam. And I know we're going to talk about his press conference, but the thing, a lot of people took things out of his press conference. None of it was good. And here's the thing that I was hoping to hear and I did not hear. I am going to aggressively get experienced offensive center to plug up Hoover Dam. I didn't hear that.
Another thing we didn't hear is,
in fact, I didn't hear anything. In fact, we were having a fun little thing about on the what's that show?
Oh, Big D Energy.
Big D Energy
with Neil Rule, 11 to 1, Monday through Friday. Check them out.
Is Brad Holmes going to be a big boy and be a badass and wear his gaiters at the press conference? Is he going to be a badass and wear his gaiters through the offseason? I did not see the gaiters.
Did it look like he had the confidence of someone strolling into a room with gaiters?
No, he looked like he was wearing penny loafers.
Yeah, he looked uncomfortable.
And I'm talking about girl penny loafers. But you know why he looked nervous? Because for the most part of the last 2 years, Brad Holmes could walk into a press conference and say, look, y'all idiots were talking all this noise. I was right again. In other words, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm doing. I'm a badass. He did not have that at that last press conference because all the things that people told him he should have done was true. So then he
all of them.
Right. So then he's walking in there like, I can't tell these motherfuckers off now today. So he was muted.
I'm going to ask this question from T Martinez or TM Martin Esquire 6216. Question for Terry: Did the sports media fumble during Brad Holmes' end of year presser? Soft questions for the most part, with 2 or 3 exceptions.
Yes.
They did. I was disappointed in the media because the media let Brad Holmes off the hook. Yeah. They needed to ask some specific pinpoint questions about, that would have been the In fact, I was going to ask you guys, what questions would you have asked? I would have asked, was it a mistake not getting a second edge rusher?
Yes. That's a great question. What would you have asked?
I would have asked him, do you take accountability for not assessing this team's, desire needs, such as interior offensive line, the edge, or even, corner or safety depth, by a veteran? Do you take accountability for those actions? Do you? Because that's throughout that whole press conference, we didn't see Brad Holmes take accountability for anything that went down this whole season. He just went up there and just kind of just said things and said them over and over again, and then people stopped asking the questions, and then.
And if you're not going to come right out and take the accountability like you're asking for, there's a way to do it in the reverse and saying, yeah, I'm going to go out and target guys who don't have injury histories, or I'm going to go out and make sure that we have the proper depth at the interior of the offensive line. Or, to be honest, I thought their safety depth was actually for backups. Some of their DBs were played fairly well. The Avonte Maddox, the Rock Yacines, but the problem is that the starters were injured.
Yeah,
Terrion is injured again,
and we can expect that now because it's been like that the past 2 seasons where this team has just literally everyone on this team will get injured.
Yeah,
it's just obviously known at this point that this team is injury riddled, and it will stay that way. They obviously got to make some changes in their
I think
training
one
department.
And I'm going to criticize the media again. When Brad Holmes gets up there and says, "Well, Hutch and Muhammad both had double-digit sacks."
yeah.
At that point, when he's talking this noise, what someone should have said, yes, but your pass rush rate was amongst the worst in the league.
Mm-hmm.
How do you respond to that?
Well, I don't want to dodge your question, but I'm going to dodge your question. He didn't really respond. I mean, he did, but
no one said that.
Right.
No one asked it. That's my point.
You know what he gave him? He gave him this. Yeah, these 2 players together, you look at those 2 players, they had really good seasons, huh? So together, that means the Lions pass rush must have been really good, huh? And we got some sacks from other people too, so must be really good. Besides, you couldn't get to the quarterback when it mattered.
Right.
And that's all that matters.
And I think I have a
if you
feeling.
can't get there when it matters, then no, your pass rush is not good.
Yeah, and I think I have a feeling what Terry feels about this, but Aiden Hutchinson, your star pass rusher with a nice fat new contract, was named second team All-Pro.
And you're running him into the dirt.
Right.
94% snaps for Aiden Hutchinson.
It's too much. It's too much.
All
right.
And we're going to have that
I'm going to
conversation.
ask you the big question. Yes or no? I'm not going to let you say, well, I don't know. Okay, here we go. Did Aiden Hutchinson have a good season? Yes or no?
Comparatively to his contract.
There you go, dodging it.
Well, he had a good season for an average edge rusher. He had a really good season. But for Aiden Hutchinson, no, he had a bad season. So my answer is no.
Okay, you can't be average. If you have Super Bowl aspirations,
have to be elite.
You want to win the division, you want to make a playoff run, you can't have average.
Right.
Average is 9-8 and 8-9.
So from what I expected of Aiden Hutchinson, no, I didn't think he had a good season.
Was he second team All-Pro?
Yes.
In your opinion?
No.
See, I think Aiden Hutchinson had a bad year. He was running himself out of the picture. He came up with some bullshit sacks like late in the game when the game was either decided or he became the hero the last play of the game.
Jameis Winston.
He didn't do anything. Right, he let Jameis Winston do whatever he wanted.
Right, and on the final play of the game, Jameis Winston runs around and gets sacked. There were a handful of those.
It's about time, buddy.
Mm-hmm. And there were a handful of. I'm not complaining about AQM because I didn't expect this out of him anyway. But he had 3 sacks in one game, 3 and 2, but it was inconsistent. Yeah. The whole team was inconsistent. They had moments. Jahmyr Gibbs had flashes of. We were talking Barry Sanders against the Giants game, and then since that Giants game where he rushed for 219, he rushed for 192 yards total over the next 6 games. Everyone was inconsistent, including Hutch. He was just consistently average or above average, which is not good enough.
Right.
One of the things that gets me is the way we deploy Hutch. Because he doesn't get moved around like elite edge rushers like Micah Parsons. And I know like he doesn't have, the same type of, athletic ability. But you see other teams, they come right up the middle. They know exactly, the Lions, they have a weakness for defending up the middle. So I'm going to attack the middle. I'm going to send my best pass rusher up the middle. And we're going to get pressure right there. And then what happened? The Lions offense went to shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we just we put Hutch way out there. Way out there. He's way out there. Like, I mean, he's almost playing nickel.
All right, the next person
corner.
I'm going to criticize is me. Because here's why. Because before Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes came here, I would bitch about the Lions playing that wide 9 horseshit. I hate the wide 9. And then Hutch wasn't doing that, but then they moved him further out. I kept my mouth shut because, well, I believe in the organization. They must know what they're doing. I don't like it, and I should have said something earlier.
You know what it does, Terry? It opens you up to getting attacked in the run game.
Right.
That's exactly what that does. Because your edge rusher cannot contain at that spot. He is easily blocked from that spot. Like a tight end can block Hutch at that spot. That's how easy it is because he is nowhere near the ball. He is nowhere near. And to take your best defender at that point away from the ball is crazy.
You know what?
Hutch
was
not
so
gonna work.
far out, he could have been covering the slot receiver.
Mark Voyal in the chat says Terry 100. Hutch running himself out of the play drove me crazy.
And that's because he's so wide that he's trying to make up for it.
Aiden Hutchinson this year became, and only the old heads are gonna know this name, Luther Ellis.
I know Luther Ellis, yeah.
Okay.
I'm an old head.
You're an old head.
Yeah.
I didn't say you weren't.
Yeah.
But Luther Ellis had a lot of energy, and he would rush the quarterback like no other.
Yeah.
The problem is the quarterback was here. Luther Ellis would be like 10 yards down the road, down the line. Then you have to come back and try to find the quarterback. That's what Hutch became this year.
It was probably hidden in it last year, the year prior, because he was running up the field, but you actually had interior pressure too. Your interior wasn't getting dominated, so a quarterback really couldn't move up in the pocket.
And
which
I don't remember ever seeing him that wide.
He wasn't. No, that's the thing. He wasn't that wide.
he would just run right up the field.
When you
Right.
when
And
are
if-
that wide,
If he's rushing and there's a ball carrier, he could just, I'll just tackle this dude. But when you're way out and you're looping around, then you're not going to get anybody.
I'm no DC, but I think that wouldn't be the most difficult thing to prepare for or try to push Hutch upfield more. T. Martinez in the chat agree. Hutch had moments, but he wasn't dynamic.
No.
If you had a top edge rusher, top 15 edge rusher opposite him, Hutch did enough. Hutch was fine this year, and he was still relentless. He was still tough, but you didn't have anyone cleaning up for him if he's doing all that. And then if he's not getting to the quarterback, nobody is. So if you're gonna roll him out there 95% of the snaps, you gotta have someone else to clean up. AQM did it in spurts, and the final numbers were good.
I think Muhammad needed a better pass rusher on the opposite side to help him out.
And then he might have 17.
Right. He needed a top 15 edge rusher on the other side.
And so we say this, we're kind of poking holes, we're criticizing Hutch. Are we worried about Hutch moving forward? Like maybe we want more of him.
No,
but
that leg is going to be better. And
agreed.
I still believe in the Detroit Lions that they will look schematically at Hutch and other areas and say, okay, we need to make adjustments. Now,
coaching.
Yeah.
It's all on Dan Campbell.
no, that's not on Dan Campbell. That's on Kelvin Shepard.
Yeah.
Which yes.
The deployment of Hutch, that's
Yes.
completely on Kelvin Shepard.
Which to me
He
is
shouldn't
on
be
Dan
out there
Campbell.
Now-
wide at all.
Well, yeah, but Shepard said something in his press conference that if it's true, I would fire his ass. He said that he was asked about adjustments defensively. He said, I'm not going to make any adjustments next year. We're going to roll it right back to what we did this year. If that's the case, if I was Dan Campbell, I'd have a talk with him and say, I heard what you said. Is that true? and then we're gonna talk and talk. And if I leave convinced he hasn't learned his lesson, I'm calling a press conference and say his ass is fired.
He gone.
He gone.
And there's at times in this season where when I looked at Kelvin Shepherd's defense, it showed a lot of promise. It showed a lot of hope, especially when he had all the pieces out there. Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Aiden Hutchinson. The defense looked all right. They were able to beat up on some teams. They were able to get after some teams. But if you're reluctant to do changes, when you go into next season, if your defense is still bad, you're going to be out of there. You're going to be out of there. So if you want to keep your job, you have to make the necessary changes.
He needs to do two things. Yes, they can play man-to-man. That's what the Lions like to do.
No.
Fine. But you have to blitz those linebackers sometimes. You have to blitz the safeties sometimes. The Lions were trying to get to the quarterbacks with their four-man rush, who they thought, and Brad Holmes thought, who they thought was an elite unit. It was not an elite unit this year.
How they
once again,
came to that conclusion.
Shepard did not adjust. Dan Campbell did not adjust. Two things.
And Brad Holmes.
You blitz, right. You blitz, and you have to play zone sometimes. And I'm not saying play zone half the time or play it most of the time. How about 20% of the time?
Yeah.
25% of the time.
And you have to play it competently, which they weren't at the end of the season. Their linebackers, which I thought were their best defensive unit all season, were horrible.
When the season didn't matter anymore against the Bears,
what
they
did
a lot?
What do you do,
played
Terry?
Zone defense.
And it was arguably almost one of the best defensive games that they've had all year.
Yeah, because they made an adjustment because Caleb Williams, for all the talent that he has, they know he can't consistently make the right decision and deliver the ball accurately if you're playing a decent zone defense.
But you know what else it is, though, Broder? It's also realizing that you don't have Terran Arnold. You don't have Kirby Joseph. You don't have Brian Branch. You don't have the players out there
and a pass rush
that can cover these receivers in man defense. They can't. These guys are picked from someone else's practice squad and elsewhere. So it's like these guys are, they really wouldn't even been on the field this year if you wouldn't have had injuries. So it's like these are not the guys you are thinking about deploying for man coverage. These are just guys who are stepping in to fill a role.
Yeah.
And you need to do justice by them and allowing them to play more freely in a zone defense.
Terry, Labartney in the chat, real quick, super chat, $5. Labartney says, no, Aiden did not have a good season.
Okay, agreed. He did not. I don't think he was second-team Pro Bowl. You know who else should not have been first-team Pro Bowl?
Who?
I know you're going to get mad at me, but I don't give a damn. Penei Sewell.
Wow.
I thought Penei Sewell was very pedestrian this year. He was getting beat inside. And maybe part of it could have been he didn't have a competent guard next to him. But I thought Penei Sewell was flawed this year. So
I think he'd say the same.
Okay, he probably would.
He would because he takes accountability.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows he needs to be better.
Crazy how that works.
He knows he needs to be better.
He was banged up.
Yeah.
He was banged up. We can obviously tell that he was banged up. He was dealing with injuries the whole season, especially with that ankle. But as far as tackles go, he was still one of the better tackles in the league.
Yeah.
And it also goes to show, like, if you have this dominant right tackle and yet you still can't protect and you still can't run the ball, like, that's a problem. That is a problem. And teams weren't testing Penei Sewell and they weren't testing Taylor Decker in terms of, rushing the edge. They came right through the middle. Right through the center's face.
Yeah, and Terry, Mark Royal in the chat says, Lions stopped going to the run and tried to win off Goff's arm, and he couldn't do it. Going away from Demo was a bad decision. So he talks about they went away from the run, the wheel talk, and I'll be the first to say the formula for success isn't Goff throwing 35 plus times. It's 25 to 30, 22 to 30, and running the ball, committing to the run. Ironically, the most direct, tangible, real comments we heard from Brad Holmes from this press conference was about David Montgomery and the fact that they might be looking to trade him. Like, your one tangible bit of information you're going to give the fan base is, yeah, we're going to consider finding a new home for one of the toughest players on our team. I'm not saying it's the wrong idea yet. We got to talk about it. But that's what you're going to give us?
Well, he wasn't good either this year, particularly later in the season.
Nobody was.
When that line broke down,
Gibbs couldn't do anything. What do you expect out of Montgomery? There were a couple games where Montgomery was running better than Gibbs, and they still didn't go to him.
Well, that was few and far between. Gibbs, for all his flaws, did average 5.5 yards per carry this year.
But what
That's
was
outliers. There are explosive outliers.
Exactly. How many times did he have, a 60 or 80 or 50?
That was later in the season. That's when everything was breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions, like I said, in their losses, particularly late in the season, they averaged 2.5 yards per carry.
They couldn't.
It's not going to get you anywhere.
Nothing.
It will get you somewhere. Cabo, Mexico, Cancun,
right.
Over there. Maybe they're in Jamaica. I don't know. They're somewhere right now. Everyone's on a field trip.
Say, that nasty water in Galveston, Texas.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I've been watching Landman. You seen Landman on Paramount Plus?
I've only seen one episode. I'm gonna get into. I've been doing Mad Men lately because I didn't watch. I wasn't part of the Mad Men craze.
I haven't seen it either.
So I'm watching it now.
All the oil talk in the fields in Texas and Midland.
I've been on the Fallout.
Is it good?
Yeah, that's a great show.
I got to get on that too.
Do they murder people?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all in now.
Yeah, it's funny.
There's
Billy
a lot
Bob
of
Thornton. It's a good one. Do you think we were talking Calvin Shepard? We're talking the problems with the offense. I'm going to ask you two questions. Do you have anything to address with the defensive coordinator position? Are you happy with Calvin Shepard, or do you look elsewhere? And offensive coordinator, what do you do, Terry?
Well, I was on a show today or this week where Spenny was all in on Kevin Stefanski.
Okay.
I don't want him here.
Why?
I thought he mishandled Shedeur Sanders to the point that A, he wanted his quarterback to fail. B, it seemed like he didn't care if his team won, and he didn't do the best things to help his former team win. He was like, it was almost like he sabotaged it.
Yeah.
I don't want a person like that.
Yep, because we seen him take the ball out of his quarterback's hands twice on 2-point conversion attempts where they failed miserably. And it's like, at that point, you don't take the ball out of the player who literally drug you down the field, making throw after throw after throw and leading to a touchdown pass, or where he ran it in and got a touchdown. You don't take him out the game.
You know,
and take
Kevin
the ball out of his
Stefanski
hands.
became Rod Marinelli.
Rod Marinelli.
An imbecile.
He's being how is it? And I don't. He won 2 Coach of the Year awards. He's the scapegoat out of Cleveland, but people are saying it was all Cleveland. That was the problem why he got.
No.
He's not the best coach. He's not who I want as OC.
He shouldn't be.
He shouldn't be. So I want to ask you, Terry, from your experience, you've seen this doesn't even age you because it's all happened in the last 25 years too. You've seen a lot of coaching turnover, a lot of stabs at OCs and DCs and head coaches. Am I walking into a trap really wanting Mike McDaniel?
No, because that's who I want.
Okay. So that makes me feel better.
So that means you're a genius.
No,
I'm with you.
I feel scarred. Like I feel it seems too good to be true. It seems sexy. It seems exactly what we need at this point in time. Even if it's only for 1 year, that's fine. Okay. I want the best play caller, the best OC, which he was elite at in San Francisco.
Brother, let me tell you something.
I'm excited.
If they don't hire someone who's sexy, if they don't hire somebody who's high profile, here's what's going to happen. Dan Campbell, the first time they have a bad offensive game, he's going to take over play calling again.
That's what it feels like.
But if he hires McDaniel, who's done this before, and it's quote-unquote sexy, and people respect, he'll allow McDaniel to keep the play calling chores if he has a bad game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's proven to be an elite play caller.
And one of the things we don't need to see out of an offensive coordinator is we don't need to be basing the decision of offensive coordinator based off of who's worked with Goff before or who has, been in this system that the Lions have ran the past, 3 years. Like if that is, the best candidate, if you're poaching somebody from Ben Johnson's, he took with him over there, then yeah, okay. If that's the best candidate you want to go with. But it's not a requirement for an offensive coordinator to have worked with Jared Goff before because let's be honest. Johnny Moe was not the best option available, and that's the decision that they made based off of the fact that he worked with Jared Goff before and he was familiar with the offense that they ran.
He was part of the architect.
Just because he's familiar doesn't mean he is
right. He was the wrong play
Ben
caller.
Johnson.
He may be a brilliant offensive mind. Johnny Morton was the wrong play caller. There's something I kind of liked about David Blau and then like the possibility of that, but I didn't like that he had never called plays. Like I want someone who you can trust calling plays. I know McDaniel had some issues in Miami. I kind of look at him as
Miami a mess.
Yes,
right.
But I look at it more. Less about the mess, more how I saw Dan Campbell after he took over play calling duties. I want Dan Campbell to just be a head coach so he can take care of everything. He's elite at that.
Broder, I'm going to do something.
McDaniel, I thought I'm coming to you next. I thought there was a little too much on his offense when his guys were healthy. He had that Miami team humming, even when Tyreek Hill was out. Mm-hmm. It was everything else. The defense, it was all of it. Elite play caller, was an elite offensive coordinator under Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, Kubiak. Was he with McVay too? Probably.
He was.
And I like that.
Now, do you believe if McVay, I'm not McVay, but if McDaniels is the offensive coordinator for the Lions, that at any point Dan Campbell will take play calling away from him?
No.
He won't. That's
No.
why you have to hire someone like him or Stefanski, somebody that people know and respect and has done this before. Because here's the thing about when Dan Campbell was calling plays. I'm not going to say he was terrible at doing it.
No.
But he let other things slide.
Exactly.
Clock management.
Everything slipped through. Yep.
Management of the team on the sidelines, that slipped.
There were penalties. The defense
Right.
was disorganized. The offense was disorganized. They weren't crisp. They didn't execute crisply. What were you going to say, Jeff?
I was going to say, I'm going to say something that you probably never thought I would say, but Jared Goff is a better quarterback than Tua.
Yeah.
So therefore, I believe that was the issue was the Miami Dolphins tried to build around a quarterback that
Jeffrey, can I get a little
they shouldn't have
favor
been building
from you?
around.
Just for like a couple sentences, can you talk real proper for me? Just say anything, real proper.
Real proper?
Like almost like a British accent or
A British accent. I don't even
perfect English.
perfect English, huh?
Because if he does that, you know who I'm looking at right now?
Who?
Jeffrey Wright.
Crazy.
I might need to Google. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Google Jeffrey Wright.
You ever watch
because
Hunger Games?
we were talking about
Very fine actor.
if people made a movie about you, who would play you? What actor would play you? And the one I got most from people was Jeffrey Wright.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
But you think young Jeff A is actually Jeffrey Wright?
I think he is. When you look at him real quick, Jeffrey Wright.
Wow.
You don't see it, do you, brother?
No, I do. I
don't-
do.
you
I
don't
actually
see
see
it.
it more
No,
out
you
of
don't
Terry.
see it. Yeah,
I see.
there you
I honestly, I think you kind of look. There's more comparison with
Maybe
you.
that's why they think he should play me.
They may be.
More of a look.
They think I look like Michael Phelps.
You do look a
can
little
see
bit
it a
like
little
Michael
bit.
Phelps.
A little Phelpsy. Yeah. What about? Do you take any? There is a Tua connection. Do you take anything away from his ability to create that Dolphins offense with Tua at quarterback?
Okay.
Tua makes more money than Goff, by the way.
He was trying to coach a concussed man. That's hard to do.
I think he was the wrong quarterback to build around.
Right. He should have had one of those little special things that you put on your helmet.
If only he would frickin' stay in the pocket more.
Oh.
Weird.
Like Jared Goff.
Weird. But what Tua did at an elite level when he was in MVP conversations was he ran that offense to perfection. He delivered the ball to their weapons.
And that's what that system is designed to do. You
I know.
see that with Kyle Shanahan. It is so easy that Brock Purdy came off the street as a 7th-round pick and now is making millions and millions of dollars. An easy system. Get the ball to your playmakers and let them go to work.
That's a quarterback's job. I don't get why people rip on Goff for it, but that's for another
Well,
story.
he was losing this year. That's why.
Well,
right.
Brock Purdy-
I
Brock
keep
Purdy-
trying to tell you this, and you don't listen to me.
What?
For 6 decades, Lion fans have criticized the starting quarterback. It doesn't matter who it is.
Right.
Matthew Stafford, Greg Landry, Jared Goff. But the only difference now is we're not getting a clamoring for the backup should be playing
Right.
because there's no backup.
There's no backup. There's no one better than your starter.
Which
You know who the Lions' backup is? David Montgomery.
Yeah. But maybe not for long.
Right.
But the dude does have a couple passing touchdowns.
we do got a super chat in here. Randall Smalls with a $5 super chat. I like Charlie Weiss Jr. from Ole Miss and wouldn't mind drafting Trinidad Chambliss as the backup quarterback.
Hey,
That's my boy, man. Ferris State alumni. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I would be more than happy to have him on the team as a backup, so that you have some type of play behind you, because Kyle Allen is just not the right answer behind Jared.
I have no problem with Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell drafting another. You want to go the Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes route? You think you found Patrick Mahomes? By all means, make it happen. I hope you're prepared for one of the worst seasons in Lions history next year. Because if you do that, you're not restructuring Goff's contract. You're paying him $70 million cap hit.
I don't think
you gotta
saying
restructure
like
him.
You have to.
Right.
You don't if you're drafting his replacement.
I don't think they're saying draft his
No,
replacement.
you
I'm saying
can't.
just
You
draft
can.
a backup.
That's fine too.
That replacement
Yeah.
doesn't have to play next year. That replacement doesn't have to play the year after that.
True,
But what you do is you bring someone in who's competent,
Yeah.
let them sit for 2 years, because that's the way it used to be
Yeah.
in the NFL.
When Jordan Love was coming out.
Right. Working with them. Right?
Right. I guess it doesn't always work out. No. I rip on Jordan Love.
didn't
He's
work
one of the
with
more
him to
talented
get there,
quarterbacks in the NFL.
He is talented.
Yeah.
And he showcased that talent last night, because like I said, it really wasn't his fault. He was, even that last drive, like, he delivered the ball to his receivers and they were dropping them.
Yeah.
They were dropping balls left and right, and they could have been on their side of the field,
Yeah.
ready to score with probably like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of time if they just catch the ball.
Yeah.
So, it's what I really say is losing a lead like that is on LaFleur and that Packers defense.
Yeah.
Not being able to run the ball, control, and bleed clock.
All right.
Yeah.
What was the greatest thing the Lions did this season? Because I got one.
Greatest thing the Lions did this season is let Jack Campbell free. Highlight him as your green dot. I wanted Anzalone signed early. It was kind of drawn out. Writings were on the wall. It was Jack Campbell's defense and his defense only. And I love it.
Jack
Okay.
Campbell deserved to be
The
a
greatest
All-Pro.
thing the Lions did this year was stop the push cush.
Oh, yeah.
Tush push,
That's the only thing.
Yeah, they
Unfortunately,
did
it was in one of the worst games of the year where you can't even, like, take that from it. Mm-hmm. But they did. And the best part was they were one of the teams who voted to keep it or didn't vote to get rid of it. Like this team, they're still built for a Super Bowl in the future. The flaws have been exposed. We've seen maybe more holes than we thought, but this team has what it makes. It has the makeup. They have the right guy leading the charge in Dan Campbell. Like, I look into little things like that, like keeping the tush push in the lead, because if you can't beat them, you got to figure out a way to stop them, and they did. I like that mindset, but you can't win a Super Bowl just on grit and just on hope and just on drafting football guys. Like, there has to be more to that, and that's what I hope Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell see, that their formula, there's a lot in it that works, but they got to pull some different ingredients to make that stew.
Well, wait a minute, Broder, because
I am confident.
This team didn't have grit. They didn't have that same identity that they had in previous years. Like I said, this team was pathetic this year. It was soft. They didn't have the grit that we have become, accustomed to seeing from them.
As a full team, there
was players, but as a full team, especially as a trench unit, both offensive line and defensive line, they didn't have it. There was no grit, and that's where you want to see most of your grit. You want to see most of your grit in your heavy-duty trucks, your semis, your F-150s, not your Ferraris. Why does Amon-Ra St. Brown have to have more grit than your offensive lineman? Why does J-Mo have to have more grit than
you bring up bring up a great point, because while I do, they have those players. They have the gritty players, the St. Browns and the Sewells and Jack Campbells. You need the majority. You need a lot of that grit to come from your offensive line.
But even the guys that you mentioned were flawed. St. Brown this season was flawed. He was dropping passes, which we never saw before. Penei Sewell, at some points again, he was getting beat like a drum. He wasn't himself. Sewell.
Yeah.
St. Brown wasn't St. Brown. Sam Laporta, he was injured.
And that's somebody that the Lions truly missed, because when he went down, things took a turn for the worst. They lost somebody that is not only dependable for Jared Goff as a security blanket, but also someone that is an incredible run blocker. And we've seen the run game go downhill when he got hurt.
100%. You can't run those jumbo packages
for you. And I'm already going to tell you what you're going to say. You're going to go, ooh. All right. Ready. 2025 Lions. Who was the Lions' most valuable player?
Jack Campbell.
The Lions' most valuable player? Jared Goff. And I don't think he had a great season. I think he was their most valuable player.
Jeffrey Wright?
Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell.
I like that.
I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. For all the flaws that we saw later in the season, I thought he got them in position to have a good season, but they couldn't finish. And then probably second, Jack Campbell.
You don't think Gibbs, and I love him, you don't think he was a bit inconsistent?
No, he was.
Even in the wins.
But this was an inconsistent team.
Yes.
Somebody's got to be. Jack Campbell was inconsistent.
Yeah.
But was it Jahmyr Gibbs was that inconsistent, or was it because the offensive line was so inconsistent that, like I said, those same holes that were there previous years were not there?
Yeah.
And the way you deploy him wasn't working because they were getting stopped right at the line of scrimmage because you were trying to run, right between the tackles, and between the tackles for you were completely ass.
You have a point, but I was told he was Barry Sanders-esque. I was told he was. That. Yeah, I was told he's the best running back in the league, And he sure looks like it at points.
But even Barry Sanders had to face this. When you get the ball and somebody's staring at you like, where are you going? I'm here already. Then you're not going to succeed.
Right. All this, I'm not holding it against Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's a super stud. I just think it was a complete collapse.
Question for you, Broder.
Yeah.
Who was the best running back in the league last year?
This past season?
So 2024.
2024, Saquon.
Okay. What did he look like this year?
Not very good.
Why?
I thought he was overused the year before.
I think it's because their offensive line regressed.
And that.
And that is huge for a running back. If the offensive line is not good, then as a running back, your job is extremely that much more difficult because you are not going to be able to evade someone when as soon as you get the ball, they're right there in front of your face. That's a 300-pound man that's sitting right in front of your face. As what's Jahmyr Gibbs? 5'9", 5'10",
if that,
maybe 200 pounds. Like, he's not getting away from a 300-pound man when he's in
nobody could escape what he was meeting in the backfield. No one could escape.
Yeah, you know what? I was talking with young Neil Rule. And the question is, do you believe in 2026? Do you believe in the 2026 Detroit Lions? A few weeks ago, I said yes. Today, my answer is no.
Why?
Because here's the Lions have to fix a lot of things. They're going to need another left tackle or right tackle if you switch Sewell over. Because I don't think
a rookie at left tackle's a rookie at left tackle protecting Jared Goff's blind side, probably not the smartest thing.
Right. You're going to need a left tackle because of retirement. The safety, you need help at safety.
You might need a whole new starting safety group.
You need to fortify the defensive line. You're going to have to find a replacement for Montgomery, it looks like. There's a lot of holes that need to be fixed. And then you got a guy who's supposed to fix this, and when people ask him questions, he's going,
I think we're good still.
So I'm not sure that's going to happen.
I don't blame you.
Maybe Brad Holmes is just a very good college scout evaluator, or he's good with the draft. But in the NFL, here's what happens. If you have a bad team, your job is to make the bad team take it from bad to good.
Check.
Now, when you go from bad to good, that doesn't mean you're a Super Bowl caliber team. It doesn't mean you're going to challenge for a Super Bowl. But then after you make the team good, because I still think the Lions are good. So the next step is to avoid all the pitfalls that's ingrained in the NFL. When you become a good team, people want to get paid, so you got to let some folks go. But at the same time, you got to elevate that team from good to great.
Yeah.
Even though you're going to lose some people.
That's where it gets hard.
So maybe that's the part Brad Holmes doesn't know.
This is the offseason we see it, though, right?
It's got to be this season. You got to be aggressive.
Has to.
But we are in this town where none of the teams want to be aggressive. I believe this. I typically am not an aggressive guy as far as building teams. But there comes a point where you have to be, when you want to go from good to great. But we're in this town, we're in this cycle where the Tigers don't want to do nothing, and they're not. The Lions are, we're going to rely on our guys. The Pistons are not going to make a big trade, and maybe they don't have to. Maybe that's the team that doesn't have to.
They're the only team that I would say you don't really have to. But that's because it's a little bit different with basketball. There's less of a roster, less of, players on the field at the same time. So if you believe these young guys, which they've come to show you that you should have every right to believe in them, then you shouldn't go do, a trade where you trade everything away to get, one star. OKC showed you that you don't have to do that. You can go and trade for, the right piece instead of the big piece, and you can win a championship.
Yeah, Sideless in the chat, $5 super chat, our guy Bird. I have total faith in Brad drafting offensive line, safeties, and wide receivers. It's cornerbacks and defensive line. He might be better off sticking to free agency.
Okay, but even though the Lions need a center desperately, they can't draft one.
I'm with you. I'm glad you said that.
Your center needs to be experienced.
Yeah,
it has to be an experienced center.
Right.
Ideally with children. You know when they lost Ragnow and
Zion? I want a center with grandchildren, man.
I'll take any of them with experience.
Right. Granddad.
Hey, we have the Legion of Whom here, but this offensive line in past years has been the Legion of Womb. They all have 2 or more kids. Sewell's got 3, Decker's got 2, Ragnow had a couple, Zeitler had a couple, and we replaced them with rookies. No kids. Mahogany, no kids. Ratledge, no kids. They need that dad strength on the offensive line.
Right.
We gotta.
Okay, Tyler Linderbaum doesn't have kids. Whatever.
He's young.
Go get him. The moral of the story is
it's coming soon. Then
you got to overspend for a center if you identify one in free agency that can come in and be a difference maker. There aren't many, but if there's a guy, if one of those top 3 guys are it, ideally that number 1 guy where there's a lot going on in Baltimore, go get him.
But
otherwise,
that's being aggressive.
Yes.
A, you got to identify him. B, you got to want him. And then C, you got to outbid the rest of the league for him or convince him this is the place to be rather than Baltimore or Green Bay or Oakland or Los Angeles. You got to convince him Detroit is the place to be.
And I think you can do that. We haven't said that in many years, but I think uniquely to the center position, to Linderbaum, his age, playing at Iowa with Laporta and with frickin' Jack Campbell, like, there is the makings of a pitch. Hank Fraley, like, Gibbs, there is something there that you could pitch to him. But if you can't get him, if you can't get one of the top centers, you got to find a center in the draft and insulate him with a lot of other men at guard. Well, you're not going to replace Rattler.
Well,
but you know what I'm saying. You need more men.
You know to dust out? You need to bring out of the shell the private jet.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ragnow again. We've been there.
No. Ragnow is not. You know what? And I'm a lone wolf. I am not buying the hamstring bullshit.
Fake news.
Fake news. You know what happened? Honey Bun, and Honey Bun is his wife. It's like, you're not going back. No, you keeping your ass at home.
The week before, the Lions have a pretty good chance of making the playoffs. Okay. As soon as they lost, was it the Thanksgiving game to the Packers? Mm-hmm. Honey Buns, you call her?
Yeah. Honey Bun said, no, you keeping your ass at home.
Yeah. That's what he did.
Because you retired in the summer. And the thing is, if you even talk about retirement, and even if you don't retire, you're done. Now, if you retire and come back, you're really, really, really done. I think Honey Bun, I'm talking about Ragnow's wife, did the Lions a favor by saying, no, you ain't going back. You staying home. You better make up some bullshit excuse. Tell them you tore your hammy or you got a knee injury or you lost your eye in a hunting accident. Tell them anything.
Hunting season was over. Hunting season was over at that point. That's why he was thinking of coming back.
He would have lost the eye.
I know. I hope that the Lions. Well, actually, first off, we didn't need 15 minutes on Frank Ragnow at Brad Holmes' press conference.
Correct.
Unneeded. Second, I hope both the Lions learn their lesson and Taylor Decker. I hope they find out his decision
early.
And if he comes back, great. You got to find his replacement.
Even if you still drafting his replacement.
Yes. But I just want him and the Lions to know what page they're on. We can't have another situation like that. Center is more important, but right now Taylor Decker is more important. And the cap space that could create if he decides to retire. I don't want to say anything bad about Taylor Decker. He's been through the trenches, pun intended, here in Detroit. But you got to move on from good players at some point, or they move on from you.
That's true. Brad Holmes and Martin Mayhew used to say this all the time. Who you drafted? Best available player. All I know this year, Brad Holmes better hope the best available player is a left tackle.
Yeah.
Or
there are some
right
good ones.
Because they talk about, well, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to. Well, they didn't say that, but Dan Campbell said that things are going to change. So first change I'd make, I'd move Sewell to left tackle, and then I would draft a left tackle to
a right tackle.
Well, he's a left tackle, but we'll switch him to right.
Someone who can play both.
So he can play. So I tell you what, I would draft a right tackle, even though I would draft a left tackle and move him to right. But I am fortifying that spot because let's say Taylor Decker comes back this season. He's not coming back the following season.
Right.
So at least you get a guy that's been in the league a year. You can work with him for a year, and he's going to be better. He's not going to be a rookie by the time he takes over. So I think priority one in the draft is finding a tackle. How about, let me just put an offensive tackle. How about
OT.
this?
OT.
OT.
And you're okay going up and getting him. Getting aggressive. If you see an offensive tackle in the first round, go get him.
Here's what I won't do. I'm not going to use third-round draft picks to draft Isaac Tesla.
It's a lot of capital. Nothing against the player. It's a lot of capital. But would you use that? They don't have a third rounder at this moment, but would you
pack? Why don't they?
Because Isaac Tesla. Yeah.
That's his name.
Yeah, and I want to say the year before they gave one away too or something. Third rounders, Brad has just used like candy and hasn't worked out too well yet.
And that's a position in the third round where you can get a starter. You can get a starter.
A lot of people agree, and I tend to subscribe to it too. The guys you draft in the first, second, and third round, I think should be starters. Maybe the first and second round.
They should. Definitely
the first round, unless it's a quarterback who you're developing or something. I want aggression. And Brad's proved he's been aggressive in drafts, moving up, down, left, right, sideways, whatever.
Injured players.
True. I'm not saying it all worked. He's been aggressive in the draft. I don't want him to be aggressive and go up and make a splash for Carnell Tate. Go up. If you see an offensive tackle you like and he's available at 11, go get him.
Bailey.
Yeah, or Caleb Downs. If you believe in Caleb Downs.
You're not getting Caleb Downs.
I don't think so either. But if you believe in him, I'm okay. He's a safety.
He's going
but go
five.
Get him. I love Caleb Downs.
He's
Hate
going
Ohio
top
State.
5.
He might. Maybe he should.
He might.
I don't know if he will.
There's a possibility that depending on how it shakes out, there could be a team that takes him top 3.
Yeah. First. Get aggressive for those guys best available at a position of need.
Okay. I am not looking for aggressiveness in the draft. I'm looking for it for trades and for agency. This whole standing, in the background and not doing anything, that's got to stop.
But Brad Holmes says you don't hear all the phone calls he's been on from the end of the season to the start.
All right, we'll make them public then.
Don't believe all the stories they say. Because when you look at it, in every scenario across Detroit sports, they never call teams offering to trade somebody. They always get phone calls about certain players. That's total horse shit.
100%.
So, I'm making phone calls.
Yeah. One kind of flew under the radar, but the Lions did get they got a 2026 gift, a post-New Year gift, when Matt Ryan was named president of football operations for the Falcons. Mike Disner was interviewing for that job?
I heard that.
This is a critical season for the Lions and their cap space, their contract situation. Disner's been as important as anybody in the organization, working with Brad and Dan and their staff to get these contracts, to get all of this done. And this is the biggest year of it. You got extensions coming up from injured players, from other players that have outperformed where they were drafted, and you got to go out and pay free agents now. We all agree, right? Mm-hmm. You got to go get some real free agents.
Right.
This is a big year for the numbers guys, the football operations guys, the football personnel guys, Disney's included. For now, we still have them in Detroit.
Do you believe in 2026?
I do. You want to know why?
I was hoping.
I believe into them because of the number 24.94. That's the average age of 17 players who I've put in their core. Mm-hmm. They're all under 25. That includes Jared Goff at 31, and it includes, this was a question, it includes DJ Reed at 29 years old. The core of their team, all of these guys are signed next year, are under 25 years old.
I agree with that, but they need help.
Yes.
Now, is Brad Holmes going to get them help? Is Dan Campbell going to lean on Brad Holmes and say, hey, dude, get me a center. I don't care what it costs. Because there's,
that's a question.
You know what else is fake? The NFL salary. That's fake.
It's going up. It comes due at some point, but you can manipulate it, and you can make it work. Mm-hmm. They can make it work for this year, creating a lot of cap space, and they can keep pushing things out. But the decisions are Taylor Decker. What do you do with him? David Montgomery. You could, if you trade him, I believe, is your only avenue for opening up the chunk of cap space, the cap hit that he has. Do you trade Montgomery? And if you do, well, who's his replacement? You got to worry about a running back.
What do you mean, what do you do with Taylor Decker? Taylor Decker might retire. So then that
decision's not yours to make.
Right.
That might – you could cut him. I don't know what the whole cap situation is. I know he's got a pretty big cap hit. You could do that. I don't think they should. I think you take care of someone like that. Let him play out his career.
The Lions,
that's a very noble thing.
It might be the wrong thing.
You are a cutie pie.
It might be wrong
for bringing that up. But there's no such thing as loyalty in sports, and there shouldn't be.
And that's why I'm not me saying they should take care of Taylor Decker may be the wrong thing to do, even if it's the right thing to do for humankind. It may be, and that's where this team, that's where we learn who Brad Holmes is. That's where we learn, is this Detroit Lions team different? Loyalty might be a negative. So don't take what I said as
all right. I can
right.
see you. Matt Broder is the GM of the Detroit Lions. You're having a meeting with Taylor Decker. And I said, Taylor, you'll say, Taylor, I know you're washed up. I know you're thinking about retirement. You're not what you used to be. Here's a couple million extra bucks for you, pal, because I'm taking care of you.
Yeah.
That's what you do, because you're just a nice guy.
You give him a Cure Insurance or a Cure Auto. Yeah. Get him a new deal. Make him some dollar bills after he retires.
Right.
Yeah. Find a way to make it work.
And you know what? The Lions would be $500 million over the salary cap. But this man will make it work because he realizes now the salary cap is fake.
Oh. It's I don't think it's fake. I just think it's not as
rigid.
Yeah, as the NHL salary cap, as there are things they're going to be able to do, but there's also sacrifice. They got to restructure Goff's. You have to. It's a must. That does require or guarantee you with him for a few more years.
Are you okay with that?
I am, because I think
Jeffrey Wright.
No, I bet you he says no.
I will never be okay with that.
We gotta start being, and I gotta prepare too.
My eyes have seen enough. Okay.
I don't understand. We've seen more good than bad out of Goff in Detroit. Yeah, it's still not enough. If you protect him, he's elite.
I wouldn't say elite. I would say you protect him, he's average.
If you protect Jared Goff, he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. If you don't protect him, he's a bottom 5. That's the way it is.
I would say he's above average.
You have to be a game changer if you want to be a top 5 NFL quarterback.
We just talked about the job of a quarterback is to get it in the hands of all your weapons, is to dominate the time of possession, is to make sure you have a balanced run game and pass game.
Yeah, but is there not players that do that? and are game changers at the same time?
Name them. There aren't more than 5.
So we haven't seen Patrick Mahomes.
Yep. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I'm over Joe Burrow. He's not in that category anymore. He's hurt too much.
But you know what? I've seen Patrick Mahomes running for his life, throwing interceptions, because when his offensive line is bad, Patrick Mahomes is bad too.
Yes.
Right?
He's just yes. He is just better than Jared Goff when the line breaks down. Yeah. Doesn't mean he's good. Jared Goff is not good when the line breaks down. Few quarterbacks are. Jared Goff just has more limitations. So when shit's going wrong, he can't dig you out of that hole. The goal isn't for things to go wrong. But we're talking about getting experienced offensive linemen so that plays don't break down, so that he has adequate protection.
But you know what, Broder?
What?
It's hard to make sure everything's perfect.
You're damn right.
It's hard to get everything perfect. Every piece on your offense has to be absolutely perfect for Jared Goff to
That's false.
Be a winner, to be above average.
That's false. He was above average this year when they were competent.
Really?
He was shit.
If you're above average,
dude, you got to let people finish their sentences. When he had a competent offensive line, he was above average, and the team was above 500, a little bit above average. When his offensive line was incompetent, he was horrible. He was the worst quarterback in the NFL.
You know what?
When they've been great, he has been great.
And then, Broder, where are they at right now?
Everybody here at Woodward
They're
Sports
at home.
gets along, unless you're talking about Jared Goff.
Yeah,
then we get a little testy with each other.
100%.
Then we call each other names and shut up, let me talk. Your mama, all this kind of stuff when we talk about Jared.
Yeah, a lot of emojis in the chat, a lot of just blanketed statements of shit.
Right.
Instead of just realizing what's right in front of them. People, and I have to get ready. He's going to be the last pocket passer in the NFL at some, like, whether it's 4 or 7 years down the line. It is. The game is modernizing where you do need a more mobile quarterback, and I hope their next quarterback is more athletic and more mobile. But I do believe Jared Goff's skill set with a proper offensive line is as good as any quarterback in the NFL when you need him. With what you're trying to do.
I want to end the show with some sparks.
Let's go.
So I'm going to turn over to Jeffrey Wright.
We do got some super chats to clean up here.
Clean them up, baby. Thank you.
If the Lions fix their offensive line, can they go to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff as their quarterback?
Yes.
He's thinking about it.
He said yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't expect that. I thought you were going to be stubborn.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be like, easy. Fuck
no, they can get there. I question if they'd be able to win it, because that would take the team being perfect. That means they would have to have their running game clicking. They would have to have a defense that is making stops. That's what would propel them to. I don't think it's Jared Goff per se that is winning, or getting them to Super Bowl, but it's a team aspect.
All right. How about this?
The
Lions make the Super
drag
Bowl,
you there,
and they're going up against Lamar Jackson. Can they win then?
Yes.
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 Well,
Because if they're going against the Baltimore Ravens, that means that there's no receivers you got to worry about over there. You only got a broke down tight end, and then you really just got to load the box and please stop Derrick Henry and hold on to his ankles or do something like that.
There are a million different reasons. All teams need things to go well to win a Super Bowl, including Stafford. I'm not saying he needed he needed the cornerback to drop the clear interception. Like, things just need to go right. You need your defense to play well to win a Super Bowl. In fact, in the Super Bowl, you might need your defense to carry you.
Now, Broder, one thing that I will say we see other quarterbacks do that I don't see Jared Goff do is that throw that Matthew Stafford threw to Kobe Parkinson. Jared Goff is not making that throw. He is not making that throw. He's not even throwing that throw. He's going to get sacked because he's not going to attempt to throw that throw. And that's the difference in what could win you a Super Bowl or have you at home or in Cabo or in Cancun or something like that.
or it's the offensive line. I can't argue. He's not going to make that throw to Colby Parkinson.
You got to make the throw.
You got to go back and look at some throws that Jared Goff made. The dude makes elite throws. So he missed one to Tesla down the sideline.
It was a wide open. He was going to score.
Check the fucking completion percentages for Jared Goff across his entire career or the last 4 years. He makes far more good throws.
Wide open throw.
Yeah.
Joshua.
Yeah.
Alexander.
Allen.
Yeah.
Stafford does. Mahomes does. Burrow does. Lamar does. They all miss throws.
It's just Jared Goff doesn't even throw them. He just gets
throws into the ground.
Which is the right move a lot of the time.
Let's clean this up.
Yeah,
right move.
It is. Quarterbacks don't exist. They don't exist to fix broken football. They exist to execute functional football. Football, you execute. The goal is to snap the ball. Everything's in rhythm. Your offensive line protects the quarterback so the quarterback can throw, or your running back can. It all works together. So the goal of a Super Bowl team is to execute well every single play. Doesn't happen every play. The goal is to do it more often than not.
You are so right, Mr. Kaline.
You want a quarterback who can execute more often than not. Right. And when they execute, he's fucking elite.
Okay. And guess what? It's fucking elite.
What?
Us, because we're done.
Let's go, baby.
All right.
Good combo today.
Real quick.
All right. Jeffrey
Wait,
Wright, had a good time.
Real quick, super chat. He's going to clean up.
Sideless Burton in the super chat with $5. Hear me out. After OC Mike Daniels leaves after the next season, we hire Matt LaFleur after the Packers fire him for having a 7th seed ceiling.
I don't know if that man should have a job. I don't know if I'm hiring as OC though. But
I think there's too much hatred there. I think there's too much hatred there for that to happen.
Matt LaFleur may come in and sabotage stuff.
He might.
Yeah, do it on purpose.
There was one too from T Martinez 6216, a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Said, hi. Does the NFL Rooney Rule apply when it comes to hiring Mike McDaniel? He's biracial.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know the ins and outs.
I don't know what the percentage is you have to be.
I think it does, but I mean, he looks white, but he's biracial.
So yeah. It only matters what's in the gene pool, Terry.
Yeah.
Because usually when you biracial, you look black.
Yeah.
I don't know if that applies to biracial dudes who look white.
It's true. I don't know either.
So in the Rooney Rule, so what you have to do is you have to get a panel of NFL players, former NFL players,
or
says, does this apply to the Rooney Rule? So you got to look at it and say,
you got to
he kind of looks black.
Get together all the black head
Rooney
coaches.
Rule, and he says, nah, he looks too much white. He got the straight hair and all this stuff, and no, that doesn't apply.
Yeah, you go grab Aaron Glenn and Mike Tomlin and DeMeco Ryans. Just gonna put all the black head coaches in one room and say, "Is he black?"
Wait a minute. Now we all biracial because Massa was getting into the slave quarters and mixing stuff up. So we all biracial technically.
I think this is where I just hop on off.
And then last super chat, Saint Vengeance 522 $2 super chat. When is the Wings recap? Don't worry, Spenny and Justin will have you on that. After Wings games. All right.
Well, they got something come up this weekend, I think, because I was here and I heard them.
Going on about the Wings?
Yeah, spitting about the Wings.
I don't know. They've been starting to elevate their Red Wings coverage. Obviously, we have D-Mac here at Woodward Sports Network every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on Big D Energy. But Spenny and Justin have really taken a hold of the Wings coverage. Wings are doing well. Wings are doing some really good things. So I don't know when the next video is out.
Big D Energy on Friday.
I didn't.
Ooh,
what happened?
Missed it.
I did. Usually I catch you.
I had special whiskey glasses for Bourbon Friday.
Okay. What was so special about them?
They were from Japan.
Damn.
And they said that the aroma of the booze is different than out of a regular cup.
Interesting.
Which I thought was bullshit. And Neil was like, damn, this bourbon does smell different.
Can't be. This isn't like a cast iron skillet. Has flavors like cooked into it, but a cup?
No.
A glass?
They said that it took 16 years for these glasses, don't call them cups now, for these glasses to be aged. And there was a diagram. Like if you put bourbon in a regular cup, the aroma is like this, like skinny. It comes out. But in these special glasses, the aroma was rolling around, and therefore it hits more of your nose.
Interesting. I can't question that, actually.
I questioned it. I thought it was horse shit. I said, "You just trying? I'm buying the glasses. Don't give me this stuff that's false." And then when we actually did it, it was true.
All right, so you believe her.
It's true.
All right.
My
Turned into
nose
a
was
believer.
telling me it's true.
Success. Terry, take us out.
All right, everybody. 2025 Lion season is done. My 3 words for the Lion season was stink, stank, stunk.
But you still have hope for 2026.
I have some hope for 2026, but
Less after the press conference?
yeah, Brad Holmes did not impress me during the press conference, but we'll see. Let's hope the Lions have a good offseason, and I think we'll check back on you periodically.
Yes. Yes. We will have a show every Sunday. We're going to have some rotating hosts up here.
Yeah, because I don't feel like coming here all in the morning.
You've earned your career as a legend. You've earned flexibility in the offseason.
Thank you.
Some time
Fortunately, I got a fellow Detroit Kool-Aid, Mr. Brandon Dent, who's, his energy, despite
Oh, yeah, he's always up.
despite a family
Except
of
the day he's
80.
asleep.
Yeah, we told him to stay asleep. Get your rest.
Keep
He's going to
passing
be
on.
filling in. We're going to have guest hosts. We'll be here every Sunday. I'm going to take a couple weeks off in February, if you know what I'm saying. So we'll be here.
Okay.
Terry, Jeff,
All right.
it was a pleasure.
Jeffrey Wright.